My name is John Fraiser. That's Fraiser. I was born and reared in LaFleur County in the little community of Sunnyside. I attended school at Middle City, which is 4 miles north of Sunnyside, and received my first degree, my 12th degree, 12th grade degree from Middle City in 1942 when I was 16. I was in the Army Air Corps in World War II. I received my degree from high school when I was 16 years old and immediately entered Mississippi State College at that time. That was in the spring of 1942. I stayed at Mississippi State for 3 semesters, and then when I turned 17, I joined the Army Air Corps and was immediately sent to Texas to take gunnery training for a bomber. I received my training and was assigned to a crew as top turret gunner on a B-24 aircraft that had 9 people for the boarding. I was, as I said, the top turret gunner, an armor gunner on that plane. We were sent to the 15th Air Force in southern Italy and completed missions from there over southern Germany, Romania, Yugoslavia, and all of southern Europe. I remember that we would get up in the morning and get ready for our missions at 4 a.m. And that morning we would do all the things we had to do to get ready to go on our trip, wherever it was. I remember one incident that brought back the question presented to me today on behalf of the church, if I had any stories about the faith of the people I worked with during my service. We at each of our missions had a preacher present and available for anyone. And after we received our briefing concerning the mission, where we were to go, the height we were to bomb from, and all the information necessary, the preacher would always appear and he would give us a short talk, and he would give us, we would take the last prayer before each of our missions. I remember one particular mission to Vienna, Austria, a real tough target, 495 Aero guns. And what made it tough for each mission. On this particular day, as we approached the target, the flak was more than heavy. It was almost as close as you could walk on it. And as we turned and went down the bomb run, I remember distinctly that one of our crew members must have inadvertently sat on his talking machine, and it left it open. And all of a sudden, as we were on the bomb run, the clear voice came out. It was not distinguishable about which one of the crew members was speaking, but that information was simply the Lord's Prayer. And I remember went down all the way through in the Lord's Prayer. And we completed the bomb run, suffered heavy flak damage, but we were able to get back with part of our crew and returned to our base. I remember we went to our briefing after coming in, and we were briefed, and we were released and went back to our tent where we were staying and went to bed. And I thought that night when I went to bed that maybe it was strange, but it was so true, and it established the faith of all the members of our crew, due to the fact that not one person on our crew spoke up at any time and said, "Who was that on the intercom during the bomb run?" I thought it was a wonderful thing that had happened. And there's little to say by me concerning the intervention of faith for church and the belief of mankind during the trouble of flying a mission in war. You realize you must have faith to avoid fear. And I think Franklin Roosevelt, our president back then, spoke loudly and courageously when he said to the people in this country, he says, "You have nothing to fear but fear itself. You have nothing to fear." And if you don't fear fear, you don't have it. And if you have faith, in my judgment, you do not have fear. You don't have it. And that's the story of the mission, the prayer, and the fact today that I'm sitting here at 96 years of age, and I'm still here. Thank you. Air Force crewman is known in World War II, suffered the highest rate of casualties of any entity in World War II. I know that we lost 65% of my gunnery class, but they were all ready to do whatever was necessary for this country. When the war was over in 1945, in August, I had completed my missions overseas and had come back to this state to go to a different school. And at that time, that was in August of 45, and I had been assigned to a navigational school for B-29s. But before I could leave in September of that year, they dropped the big bomb on the Japanese and the war was over. 2 weeks later, they issued a part for the Air Force, at least. They issued a paper that said that it had a number that you were given for your service. Each month had a date on it. Each battle zone that you fought in had a number for it. Each of the little buttons that they gave you for flight during the time that you served was there. And I added up all of those, and I had enough points to get out. And at that time, the universities put out for at least a med school and attorney schools, they put out a statement that if you had 2.5 years of college credit with a B+ average, you could go directly into your upper school, your doctorate, and get your doctorate degree and pick up your bachelor's degree on the side and receive your bachelor's degree, receive your doctorate degree in 3 years.
Wow.
So I took that course and got my doctorate degree in law when I was 23 years old.